Hi, I'm Paige with the Federal Bar Association. I'm a young lawyer from Dodge City, Kansas. Today we'll be learning about the importance of civics. Civics is what we call the rights and duties of people who live in a community, like in your family, in your school, and in your town. Civics also touches on the laws and rules that we live by, which help us all live together. We traveled all across Kansas and the Western District of Missouri talking to lawyers, judges, and other amazing civic leaders about how to be involved in our community. Come with us as we learn how to be civic leaders today.
Civics is so important to all of us as citizens of the United States, and it starts with kids. And you need to learn about civics, which really is learning about our government and our laws. Really, laws are just rules. And so just like the rules your parents have for you at home, laws protect us and provide how we govern ourselves, keep our environment safe, hopefully. And in order to be good citizens and to live a full and productive and happy life, we all need to know and understand what our rights are as citizens of the United States. So that's what learning about civics really is.
Now we know what civics is and that it's important to be involved. And we know that everyone has the power to participate. Next, let's learn how to get involved and how to use our voice.
There's so many ways that kids and teens can be heard and engaged, but in a nutshell, stay informed. You don't have to read everything on the internet, but stay informed of the big issues of the day and the things that matter in your hometown. Form an opinion about those that you can give a reason for, and be heard. There's lots of ways that you can be heard.
Engagement always starts, well, first at home. Right? I mean, the skills that are required to be an engaged citizen, you learn first in your family and at home. You know, negotiating with your sibling over who's going to wash the dishes or mow the lawn, being a responsible member of your family, that's where you learn those skills, the ability to speak up, to contribute, to have a sense that I'm part of a family and I have not just rights, but I have responsibilities.
I always wanted to make a difference in my community. I grew up experiencing homelessness. I grew up just with a single mom who worked really hard. And I thought that there was a way that I could help other people, other kids who grew up like me. And I have been able to through public service.
And so whether it is volunteering in your local community, whether it's becoming more aware through reading what's going on in your local community, watching television perhaps, things that you may see on the internet, I think will make you a better, younger person. And if there's something that's going on that you just don't quite agree with or you don't understand, you have that background now to do something about it. And I think that that's what our democracy, our society is all about.
Civic community involves helping someone who is vulnerable, somebody maybe with a disability or somebody who is not included because of their background or race or color or ethnicity or gender. You as young people look around yourselves and see what can I do better or who can I help with that to have a happy life, to have friends, to have a great opportunity to create and have an interesting job. And do help.
If you really want to do like I wanted to do, and that is give a voice to people that don't have a voice, you have to get involved in your community and in the civics education so that you'll know how to make that change and how to help the people or the projects that you want to help.
Kids should be involved with their local government, understanding what that is, local, state, and national. Because it affects their lives on a daily basis. And the more that they understand about it, the more that they can find where they fit.
We rely on the youth, I think, in this country and always have to bring a fresh perspective, fresh ideas, and looking at things through a new lens. The youth are the future of our country, so their voices really matter. What happens today affects them far more than it affects the rest of us. And there are so many ways to give voice.
It's maybe hard for everyone to run for president, but there's space on the library board. There's a space on the zoning board to be a leader that would really matter in your community. You can write to your elected officials or email them with a respectful email. You can talk to others on the street and try to convince folks to your point of view. Those are wonderful ways to engage.
So the first thing you have to do in terms of finding your voice is to use it, is to make that first roar. I'm thinking about the Lion King. It's to actually make sure that somebody knows you're there. And so I would always say step one on finding your voice is don't be scared to speak. Don't be scared of what someone else will say about your thoughts, because they are valuable, they are important.
I don't think that we can overstate the importance of the power of so many people's voices, and even the power of one individual voice in some instances to help influence and engage with other people to make a difference.
Your voice is important, and your voice matters, and I think you'll come to the realization as you grow and as you mature that you have to realize that it's not about you. I had to realize that it's not about me, it's about the people that are becoming what I want to be. And so once you figure out that it's for the greater good, I think that your voice will get stronger. And there's a difference between using your voice and raising your voice. And I think if you use your voice, you have a better chance of being heard.
If you're there participating, you have to be willing to be part of that participation that doesn't work, that doesn't happen. Some other people have good ideas too, and it doesn't matter how long you've been in the process. And that can be incredibly discouraging for somebody new into the process.
Abraham Lincoln ran for public office time after time after time. His business went under. I think he lost about 8 or 9 elections, and then one day was elected president of the United States. The point here is you can't give up if you really, really believe in something. Had Abraham Lincoln decided after one loss when he ran for the House of Representatives in Illinois, if he had said after he had lost the first race, well, I'm through, this would be a dramatically different country. But he stayed with it. He did not quit. And it mattered to the whole world that he stayed.
It's very important to own the deck of cards you've been dealt, right? Some of us have been given 5 goldfish, some of us have been given 10, some 15. But make the most out of what you have, because not everything is fair, right? And fight for the things that are right. Never be afraid to have courage and step up and speak out on those things. But to always remember that the collective responsibility never trumps your personal responsibility. So we have to set our own things in order, our own house in order before we go reorganizing the world. And so one of the pieces of advice that I think I try to live by every day, and definitely in that position of power as a politician, there's many days you ask yourself, I'm trying to make change, but what is it in my life that I can do to be better, to be a better person, and help the collective. So,
using your voice is such an important part of making a change. But in order to really make a difference, we all have to work together. We may not all look the same, act the same, or be from the same town, but we can all do the work to make our communities and country a better place.
I think diversity is enormously important in our society and therefore in our judiciary. I've had one set of experiences in my life, and I think it's absolutely normal. But growing up in Southwest Missouri with a single mom and getting free lunches is not everybody's experience in life. Other people have had different experiences, and I need to be open to that and to learn from that.
As a community, for example, in the community where I reside, right now we're working very hard to bring in all different types of voices that haven't necessarily been heard in the past. And part of what we have to be able to do is, in encouraging those voices to come forward, is once they're there, then us hushing a little bit and just listening.
So one of the things that makes it hard to be engaged in a community, one of the challenges, is that we're all so different. And yet we know that the strongest teams that you can put together to solve a problem are the teams that have the most difference among them. Think about a football team or a basketball team. You know, I'm not a sports person, so I'll probably butcher the positions, but if everybody's a really good runner and nobody's a good thrower and nobody's a good kicker, you don't have a good team. You need that difference. And that difference is what makes us strong.
And it's also important that judges learn from one another. For example, when I first came on the bench and I was relatively young, African American woman, most of my colleagues on the bench were World War II veterans, older white men. I learned so much from them, hearing their stories about what it was like to serve in the military through World War II. And I'm hoping they learned a lot from me.
The Federal Bar Association hopes you and your teachers continue to learn more and stay engaged in civics. Let's take a quick look at the Federal Bar Association and learn how your teachers play a role in civics education.
The United States has two main political parties and some other smaller political parties, but our Federal Bar Association is completely apolitical, which means that all of the activities of the Federal Bar Association do not have a political bias. And one of the most important reasons that we do that is so that we can have our judges involved, because our judges cannot be involved in any political activity. So it's very important that we represent the ideas that are common to all people in the United States and not to a specific party. So one of the main or most important projects that our local Civics and Outreach Committee is undertaking is compiling resources for teachers to use in their classrooms to teach civics. And we want to make those resources available to teachers, but we also want to make available to teachers volunteer lawyers and judges who want to come visit students in their classrooms and talk about civics and the rule of law. And so those resources are available, and we want to help get them to the people who want to use them.
I, like every other student, had classes in government and civics, and it was actually the part of my schooling that the classes that I liked the best. And it was goes back even to a fourth grade teacher, Mabel Pruder, who highlighted for me the importance of knowing about our government and studying people who worked in government, and kind of trying to model your life about the success, the things that people did that did them so well and made a difference in our nation. So civics education has been a significant component of my growing up years and a good part of my education.
But if I could encourage kids out there to ask a couple of questions, I think you'll find that the responses you get from adults will dive right in, and they'll be more than happy to get you involved in things that might have some interest to you.
One thing I'd like young people watching this to know is you can do this. I didn't have any lawyers in my family. I had pig farmers. You can do this. You have the ability, and reach out. People want to help you. I got to give this seat to somebody, and I hope it's a young person that didn't come from generations of lawyers. So you've got the ability, you've got the intelligence. We need you in the game.
Today we heard from a lot of amazing people. Judges, lawyers, politicians, and so many more. If you want to learn more about how to engage in civics, visit our website to find more resources for your home, classroom, and enjoyment. Remember, civics is the word that describes how we live in community. You are a member of so many communities, including your family, your city, and your state. Therefore, you have a say in how society works and a voice to impact how things should work in the future. But you also have a duty, a responsibility to know how your actions affect those around you and impact, for better or for worse, future generations. Civics is about using your voice to make a difference right where you are. Talk to a friend, a parent, or a teacher about how you can make a difference in our world today. We can't wait to see what you do when you start engaging in civics.